Hi, welcome back to Higher Hertz. My name is Justin Leopard, your online cello teacher, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to play Happy Birthday on the cello. So in order to play Happy Birthday on the cello, you only need to learn a few different notes. It's a very simple song, and I'll also teach you guys the chords that can go along with it for a slightly more advanced approach to playing it. But we're going to be learning it in G major, key of G major, and what the key of G major means, if you haven't watched our scales video, is that we're basically going to be using notes that are from the G major scale. So we don't have to go up any higher than that, and we're not even going to use all of those notes. But if you've been practicing the G major scale, then you're already going to know where your fingers need to go down for each one of these notes, and it's going to make it go a lot easier for you guys. So this tune doesn't actually start on G. It doesn't start on the root note of the key, the tonic, in other words. It starts on the fifth, or D. And it also doesn't start on beat 1. So we're in a 3/4 meter when we're playing Happy Birthday, and we start with a pickup, or a note that happens before the downbeat of the bar. So a 3 conducting pattern looks like this. You go down, and beat 1 in any bar is always down, and then you lift up to go 2, which is always, it's not, 2's not always to the right, but the beat before the last beat's always to the right because the last beat is up. So if you have 4, it'll be like this, and if you have 2, it'll be like this. If you have 3, it'll be like that. So this is always 1, this is always the last beat of the bar. And so in 3, we go 1, 2, 3, 1. And when we play Happy Birthday, we start on the pickup, beat 3. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, ba, dum, ba, ba. So forgive my singing. I'm not really a singer, only occasionally. Mostly I'm a cellist, so we're going to talk about how to play it on cello. So the rhythm that we're doing here is kind of a triplet rhythm. You can imagine that there's dun, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This kind of pulsing of 3 notes per beat going on. And when we play Happy Birthday, we're going to be holding for 2 of those beats and then playing the third one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the basic gist. We only have to do it once. But that is the rhythm. 1, 2, 3. So then we put down our first finger after the 2 open D strings, basically playing the 6th of the G chord. A little bit crunchy, but that's one of the things that actually makes Happy Birthday not just a dinky little song. That it starts with just a little bit of fun, because E, the note that we're playing with our first finger, isn't in the root chord of G major. It's still in the key of G major, but the root chord is G, B, and D, and we're playing in E. So already something a little bit outside, something makes it a little bit fun. Just, a little preamble to music theory as we work on this. But anyways, the next few notes are just on the beat. 1, open, 4, 3. So the only notes we're using are the first, or the last 4 notes of the G major scale. And we're doing them a little out of order. And we're doing it with this rhythm. Dun, 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 dun. And we hold that last note for 2 whole beats. So remember the beat pattern? Dun, dun, da, 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 down. And then pick up again. Dun, da, da, ba, ba. So those notes are, starts the same, but then we go, or for the more daring, you could shift up and do it, but for the more daring. For now, we're just going to use the open A string. And then we have a third phrase that comes after that, but it's the same rhythm we've been doing. What we're going to do now is we're going to outline a G major arpeggio. So remember that root chord I was saying, G, B, D? Now, if you've already watched our video on arpeggios, you already know how to do this one. But we're playing just down from the 5th to the 3rd to the root in G major. The 4th finger on the D string is G. So if we go to 4th finger on the D string, that's a 5th above. So the strings are 5th apart, so any of the same fingerings a string apart are going to be a 5th away from each other. And then 3, 1. And a little bit of a pause. So far it goes like this. 1, 3, 4, 3. Second phrase, 1, open A, fourth finger. Fourth finger on the A string, pause. And so what those notes are they are C, which is second finger on the A string. And we're doing that same rhythm. And then it's 1, 4 on the D string, open A string, and then back to G, which is fourth finger on the D string. So when we're playing this melody, it's very straightforward as far as, not having too many complicated rhythms and stuff, but it is just such a beautiful melody in terms of having just a nice 4-bar structure. We got a phrase that repeats with a slight alteration that goes to this much higher place before coming back to the A section. Kind of the most straightforward musical structure that you could possibly look for, and even a lot more complicated music is just much more complicated versions of that structure. So again, a little bit too much of music nerd, but we're not done because we're going to learn how to play the chords to this as well. But first, I want to talk about one other bowing that you could do that might make this sound a little bit easier, because the bowing that I showed you is as it comes, so to speak. Every note is its own bow stroke, starting down bow. And what you might have noticed is that means that at the end of every phrase, we're ending up bow. Now, up bow, because at the tip, we have less natural weight from our arm than at the frog, it sort of implicitly means that if we don't do anything, it's going to get louder. And that's not really what we want to have happen at the ends of our phrases. We want our notes to kind of die off gracefully. So it makes more sense to end on a down bow, which is going to naturally die off. Not to say you can't end on an up bow, it just means that you then have to control for it and be able to lift your arm in a way that doesn't then cause the bow to lift off of the string entirely. So the bowing that I'll show you instead is up, up, down, slur, up, down. So it would look like this. Up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So you just are able to slur notes together strategically, kind of going up, down, up, down. The downs are a little bit longer than the ups. Now, let's have a little bit more fun with this. If you want to be practicing playing this for everybody, maybe you want to be able to also kind of play the chords for them, what we would do is that on the second note, we would also include the open G string. And then for this note, we would roll chords. So we would hold 1 on the lower 2 strings and then play our third note, and we'll just play each note right after the back. It's called a roll chord. So we just have to roll the bow up. And you can also hit the low notes as a double stop and just do kind of a 2 as well. So, and we'll do thirds here. So 4 and 1, 3 and open, and then we'll do the same barring, but on the G and D string, and then open G, fourth finger G. So once more, slowly. And you'll notice that I was also doing a slightly different slurring there. So that's one of the things as you try working on this, work on different ways of slurring together. Remember, the bow is just as tricky as the left hand. And if you can think about it at least equally as the left hand, then you'll suffer less as you work on playing cello. Because you won't get to these points where you're like, why does it not sound good? You'll be on top of it. All right, so now finally, we're going to hold down 3 on the G string, 4 on the D string, and then bar 4 to the A string as well. And then when we play 3, we do also 4 on the G string, and then just play 1, and then we're going to shift back to half position, 1 and 3, and then open D and 2, shift back up a half step, come down and bar D, A, and then open D and A, and then come and do the open G, G octave we did earlier. So this is a little more complex. I'll include the sheet music for it. I'm just going to do the whole thing kind of slowly, and then we'll talk about the tag and we'll be done. And then if you want to, is just open D, first finger open 2. You can do a little grace note if you want to add a little extra flair to it. And that's how you play Happy Birthday, at least in G. Once you get the hang of it, if you want to play it in other keys, you can just work on it, work on transposing it by ear, looking it up. A lot of different ways to do it, but G is a great key to do it in. It kind of gets you to it, and if you're looking to play it for your friend, this is the video for you. So I hope you appreciated watching. Once again, my name is Justin Leopard with Higher Hertz. You can subscribe below for more cello lessons. We're teaching you guys everything you need to know, so please stick with us and let us know your questions. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.